This is Dante Williams, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
It is Teddy Atlas, and we're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Keep watching, otherwise, you know.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, it looks like HBO and Bob Arum, they are really sticking it to Guillermo Rigo these days, huh? Apparently, Bob Arum has sent Guillermo Rigondeaux into exile by having him fight all the way in Macau, China. He'll be fighting out there July 19th on Zhou Shiming's undercard. What's almost comical is Bob Arum, he plays stupid, but this man ain't stupid. He knows how to promote a fight. He simply doesn't want to promote Guillermo Rigo. That's what it really comes down to. That's only common sense. I ain't no damn promoter, but we all know that if you have a Mexican fighter, you stage the fight in an area where there is a large Mexican demographic. I mean, how many times have we seen Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fighting in Macau, China? I mean, we just seen it last weekend. 11,000 fans turned out to watch Terrence Crawford fight in his own hometown, right? So this is what I mean when I say Bob knows what he's doing. He just doesn't want to promote Guillermo Rigo. After Terrence Crawford went overseas to defeat Ricky Burns and take his title, his very first defense was in his own hometown. Why didn't Bob do that for Guillermo Rigo? His first defense, his first title defense should have been in Miami, Florida, right after he dethroned Nonito Donaire. But see, he didn't do that with Rigo, right? You know, after Tim Bradley beat Manny Pacquiao in the first fight, he would say something that was really telling and interesting, to say the least. He said that after he got so much of a backlash for beating Manny Pacquiao, of course, because a lot of people thought Manny Pacquiao should have won the fight, Bradley would later on say that he wished sometimes he didn't even win the fight. He wished they would have just gave the fight to Manny Pacquiao, right? And then his own trainer, Joel Diaz, he would say it was a curse winning that fight against Manny Pacquiao. This is the exact same thing that Guillermo is dealing with right now. It was a curse for him to beat Nonito Donaire because everyone had high expectations. I won't say everyone. Let's just say a lot of Nonito Donaire fans, they had high expectations for him to be the next big thing. They really wanted him to be the next Manny Pacquiao. It turned out to be a curse for Guillermo Rigo to beat this guy. Of course, it all started with Bob Arum. He threw out the red meat and basically told everyone immediately following Guillermo Rigo's biggest win, it's going to be hard to promote this guy. When have you guys ever heard Bob Arum say that after one of his fighters' biggest wins? You have never heard Bob Arum say that before. And also, because I forgot to mention it earlier, not only has Bob Arum sent Guillermo Rigo into exile, but to add insult to injury, there's been reports that they're not even going to air the fight on HBO. Now, and if this is true, this would be a huge travesty when it comes to mistreating a fighter on Guillermo Rigo's level. Operation Sabotage has been in full effect since the day Guillermo Rigo beat Nonito Donaire. If you don't believe me, let me go ahead and show you this right here. You see this picture you guys are looking at right here? This is the picture that was on Bob Arum's website, toprank.com. Following Rigo beating Donaire, this was the picture that was up, leading all the way up until the fight that Rigo had against Joseph Agbeko, right? Now, you'll notice Nonito Donaire is in the picture, right? But there's somebody missing. Who's missing? Of course, Guillermo Rigondeaux is missing in the picture. So the point is simple. Bob Arum was trying to sabotage this man Rigo's career ever since he beat Nonito Donaire. For the people who say that Guillermo Rigo is boring and this is what he gets and so on and so forth, first thing I want to say is I want everyone to understand this. There are only certain people who say this, okay? These people, they try to make it seem like everyone thinks this. I don't say that. I would love to see Guillermo Rigo fight because he's one of the best fighters in the world. There's a lot of other people who will say the same thing. But then you have a certain demographic of people who will say, oh, he's boring and this and that. I don't want to see him. Even if it were true that Guillermo Rigo was a boring fighter, that would simply make you promote him even more, right? You would say to yourself, okay, now we got to do a little extra for this guy. We got to make sure we get his name out there. We got to get him recognized. Why would you not even have him on your own boxing website when he has a fight coming up? Come on, man. That's just common sense. I mean, we're talking about doing little things that don't even cost money. There's no big money you have to spend by putting Guillermo Rigo's picture on this website with all these other fighters, right? You see, Bob Arum and people like Jim Lampley, they'll try to get you guys to believe that no one in the world wants to watch Guillermo Rigo. He's just such a small draw in the sport of boxing, right? But if that were the case, please explain to me, why is it out of all of Donaire's fights, the only time he had somewhat of a 24/7 format for one of his build-ups to one of his fights was against Guillermo Rigo, right? If you guys remember, when Nonito Donaire fought against Rigo, they had the road to Donaire versus Rigondeaux, right? They didn't have that for Donaire versus Nishioka. They didn't have it for Donaire versus Arce, Mathabula, or anyone else. It was only against Rigo. Why? Because that fight was expected to be huge and generate the highest ratings that Nonito Donaire and Guillermo Rigo had ever pulled in before. So Operation Sabotage is still in full effect, but that's coming to an end very rapidly because you see, Guillermo Rigo's contract, it expires after this last fight he has with Kokietgym on July 19th. I truly expect to see Guillermo Rigo fighting on Showtime, either with Al Heyman, Golden Boy, or somebody. But I truly believe he'll be fighting on Showtime, and he'll be getting the type of respect and admiration that fighters like Lomachenko, Sergio Martinez, Gennady Golovkin, and fighters like that all received. So we'll pretty much see what happens with Rigo in the very near future. I'm on to the next one.